What if time travel isn't science fiction, but something that's already happened? These are the strangest cases in history, and by the end of this video, you'll question everything you thought you knew. Ancient Swiss watch. In 2008, reports claimed archaeologists excavating a 400-year-old Ming Dynasty tomb in Shaanxi, China, discovered something impossible, a tiny ring-shaped watch lodged inside the sealed coffin. It had supposedly stopped at 10:06 and, most shockingly, had the word Swiss engraved on its back. In English, in a tomb sealed 4 centuries before Switzerland even had that name in English, which didn't happen until 1848. The internet went wild. Time travel, parallel universes, lost advanced civilizations, the whole 9 yards. But here's the problem. There's no published excavation report from any credible Chinese archaeological institution confirming this discovery. No official catalog entry, no independent verification. The story surfaced online and spread, but the evidence simply doesn't hold up. Fascinating to imagine, almost certainly not real. The Expected One. In 2017, a painting called The Expected One went viral. Created around 1860 by Austrian artist Ferdinand Georg Waldmüller, it depicts a young woman walking through a forest, and in her hands, she appears to be staring down at a glowing rectangle. Some online commenters immediately jumped to conclusions. She's texting. Proof of time travel. Edited versions of the image spread fast, with the object brightened to look exactly like a lit phone screen. But Austrian art expert Gerald Weinpolter quickly cleared it up. The woman is holding a small prayer book, not an iPhone. She's flipping through prayers, not swiping through social media. A classic case of the internet seeing what it wants to see. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. The Springfield Painting. This painting was created in 1937 by Umberto Romano. It depicts William Pynchon arriving and interacting with indigenous people during the early colonial settlement of Springfield in the 1600s. It hangs at the Springfield museums today. Most people who stumble across it online aren't focused on Pynchon's eye-catching pink shirt. They're fixated on a Native American man in the foreground, holding a small rectangular object in both hands, looking, at first glance, exactly like someone staring at a phone screen. When the image resurfaced online around 2015 and 2016, the jokes came fast. He's checking Instagram. Ancient iPhone user. Proof of time travel. But historians have a much simpler explanation. The object is almost certainly a small hand mirror, which were highly valuable trade items between European colonists and native communities in the 1600s. Other possibilities include a book or a symbolic cultural object. It's a fascinating example of how modern eyes interpret historical images through a contemporary lens. We see a phone because phones are everywhere in our world, but context changes everything. Time-traveling spy. This photograph, taken in 1943, shows a group of soldiers gathered on a street in Reykjavik, Iceland. Nothing unusual until you notice a man in a trench coat in the background, holding something to his ear in a way that looks unmistakably like someone on a cell phone. Given that cell phones wouldn't be invented for another 4 decades, theories erupted online. He's a time traveler or a wartime spy using classified technology decades ahead of its time. Skeptics, however, point out the far less exciting explanation. The man is probably just scratching his ear, adjusting his collar, or pressing something to his face in a completely mundane way. Photographs from that era are grainy and low resolution, and the brain is remarkably good at pattern matching ambiguous shapes to familiar objects. We see what we expect to see, and right now, we expect everyone to be on their phones. Mike "Madman" Markham. In 1995, a man named Mike Markham called into Art Bell's late-night radio show Coast to Coast AM with a wild claim. He said he'd accidentally built a primitive time machine in his backyard using a modified Jacob's ladder, a high-voltage electrical device. During testing, he noticed a shimmering vortex in the air. He threw a metal screw into it. The screw disappeared, then reappeared moments later several feet away. Here's where it gets interesting. Markham needed more power, so he stole electrical transformers from a local utility company. Using them to power his time machine, he caused a local blackout. Police got involved. He was arrested and sentenced to 60 days in jail. That part is on record. He called back in 1996, saying he was 30 days from completing his second machine and planned to travel through it himself. Then, in 1997, Mike Markham vanished. He resurfaced in 2015, claiming he'd been transported 2 years into the future and 800 miles away, waking up near Fairfield, Ohio, with no memory of who he was. The radio calls are real. The arrest is documented. The time travel, no evidence whatsoever. But for a backyard time machine story, this one has an unusually solid paper trail. What do you think? Genius, madman, or something in between? Let me know in the comments. So what do you think? Are these just myths and coincidences, or proof that time travel already exists? Let me know your theory in the comments.